Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back to Cheddar's Cannabis.
And California sales of legal cannabis are expected to top $3 billion this year. That's more than Washington and Colorado's markets combined.
Wow.
So then why are there so many California cannabis companies actually cutting their workforce or scaling back any of their growth plans? Well, for starters, the black market in the Golden State is thriving and is expected to bring in $8.7 billion this year alone, but that's just one of the many problems California is facing. Sonia is the founder and the CEO at Aviva Spectrum. Great to have you with us from Los Angeles today. So California increasing now taxes on marijuana beginning next month in January. Legal companies already struggling to stay competitive. How much will this hurt them?
This is going to hurt them a lot. So when I did my own math on just trying to figure out how the excise tax alone is going to impact the cannabis market, you're looking at the register to the consumer at least a minimum 12.5% increase on the product. So even if the product were to cost the same to the retailer, the consumers is still going to pay 12.5% more. Not to mention sales and use tax on top of that. I'm estimating it's going to be at least 20%. So we're looking at actually a drop in 2020 of total sales, according to certain industry experts like BDS Analytics and a couple of others in the industry. So a lot of industry insiders in California are trying to calm the legislators and tell them to hold off on this increase, but it doesn't look like it's going to go far.
Yeah, I want to go through some of the numbers, the amount of people that are impacted by this, Sonia. There's a lot of layoffs that are going to happen in this industry. Flo Conniff, by the way, which bills themselves as California's #1 selling cannabis flower brand, they're cutting a fifth of their workforce. Their chief executive faulting the state for all of this. And then look at all of these. Ease, they've laid off 36 people. Weedmaps, Pax Labs, MedMen, everybody has been laying off so many people. What percentage of the cannabis industry is affected by this, and how much bigger could this get, especially because we were told this is going to be a burgeoning, flourishing industry?
Right. It was supposed to be booming and we were going to make all this money and the state was going to make billions off of it. Well, we had a total shortfall of over 200 million in tax revenue. That's number one. And this new tax hike did not impact this recent layoffs. What really impacted the layoffs that we're seeing now was this overinflated valuation that the market gave these cannabis companies. So let me give you a practical example. Some of these publicly listed cannabis companies were trading at 6 times EBITDA, okay, which is ridiculous. Or they were trading at 7 times revenue or what have you, and they were losing money. So when you have that, coupled with the fact that investors are starting to look, when am I going to get a return on my investment? That's when CEOs of these cannabis companies realize, look, we need to make this a stable, profitable, break-even business, because the story they were telling investors were, hey, give us your money, we're going to make a big impact, we'll buy all these licenses, consolidate certain markets, and by the way, since we're the leaders, we'll capture a big market share. Well, when you're not making a lot of money and losing money and having these high valuations, investors started to realize, well, wait a minute, by the time consumers actually pay these increases in terms of prices and getting access to certain licensed cannabis markets, they were going to wait 6, sometimes 10 years out. So that's when the market started to plummet, and that's why we're seeing these layoffs today. It really has very little correlation to this new tax increase that California is posing on some of these cannabis companies.
Yeah, Sonia, to that point, I mean, I was just in LA just a few weeks ago, and I literally probably saw 10 different billboards for dispensaries saying, buy the legal product, please do not buy stuff on the black market. And as Hope had just mentioned, the black market is still thriving. $8.7 billion just in sales alone. This seems like this move would be counter to promoting people to get stuff at these legal dispensaries.
Yeah, and there's a couple of factors in the market right now. So some of the industry insiders are talking about this lung injury. So let's just kind of take that. If you buy in the legal market, the CDC and other state public health agencies are saying you have the least amount of risk of actually getting lung injuries. Okay, so that's what's also going in the market, is saying buy legal to be safe and healthy for your body. And the CDC finally came out a few weeks ago saying, okay, vitamin E acetate, when it's in a vaping product, hurts and damages your lungs. And in conjunction with the state of Illinois, CDC put out a survey for 4,000 participants that participated in the study in the state of Illinois, and what they found was those individuals that had this lung injury, not only 85% of them got it from the illicit black market, but the use of vape pens and e-cigarettes and THC vaping products, they were using it 5 times more than the average consumer. So both industry insiders as well as state agencies are trying to say, if you're going to buy a vaping product or e-cigarette, please buy it through the legal market, because now there's strong evidence to suggest that it's harmful for your body and you should avoid those products at all costs.
All right, Sonia, thanks so much for being on with us today on Cheddar's Cannabis. Sonia Luna is the founder and CEO at Aviva Spectrum.
Preparing your accounting records causes stress, the #1 killer for business owners. Aviva Spectrum takes away accounting stress. Email us today at info@avivaspectrum.com and receive a stress-free accounting diagnostic.